Hello, my name is Rich Hundhausen. I'm the president of Exensient, a Microsoft Regional Director and a Visual Studio Team System MVP. Hey, in this how-to video, we will look at using the folder diff feature in Visual Studio Team System 2008. Now, folder diff displays a visual representation of the differences between files in either two server folders, in a server folder and a local folder, or in two local folders. There are several filter options, and you can even run the compare recursively to look for differences in subfolders. Folder diff is also known as folder compare. It's a little confusing because previously this was referred to as tree diff, and if you're a user of the 2005 version of Visual Studio Team System, you can install the Team Foundation Power Tools, which is highly recommended, and use the tree diff command there. They all essentially do the same thing, but we're going to take a look at a demonstration here in 2008. Also, you can visit www.teamsystemwidgets.com to locate the Power Tool download. So let's take a look here. I'm currently logged in as Dave, and if I open up the Source Control Explorer, you'll see that I have a project in here called Cool Library. Now, if you've used the compare features before, it's really nice. You can highlight a file, and you can right-click, and you can bring up compare, and this dialog really hasn't changed much. You can compare a source path to a target path, and that can be a server path or it can be a local path. So in this case, we're going to compare what's in Dave's local workspace to what's currently on this in the server path with the $ AdventureWorks, and we'll look at the latest version of this guy. So we click OK, and as we expect, the folder or the files are identical here. If we could do a compare a second time, and maybe instead we'd take a look at maybe what's in Wade's workspaces, we can see that what Wade has in his workspace and what I have on the server are two different items on line 19 here. Now, this is nothing new. This is just file comparison using the diff merge features of 2005. It really hasn't changed much for 2008. Where the folder compare comes in is if you come up here to a higher level. Let's come up here to the root and take a look at the Cool Library folder right underneath AdventureWorks. We can also do a right-click compare, and this dialog is quite a bit different. Now, if you look at this, we can also work with a source path and a target path, and again, those can be server folders or local folders or a combination. You can compare a server to a local folder. You can also filter out folders or file extensions. So take a look at the predefined filters here Microsoft has given us. We don't care if PDB, object files, DLLs, executables, etc. are different. We only care about the content files, the source code files. And we can also filter out to only show items that are in the source path, the target path, or different. So we'll leave those three checked there to kind of see all the differences between the two folders here. And then let's go ahead and just compare AdventureWorks Cool Library on the server with what's local in Dave's workspace. And as we might have guessed, Dave's workspace is current. If anything came up here, we would see different files on the target or different files on the source, and that might indicate we either need to do a check-in or we might need to do a get latest to bring the workspace up to date. Well, let's go ahead and rerun our compare, and let's do a little bit different comparison here. Let's compare the Cool Library with what's in Wade's workspace and see if there's more than just that one file that's different. Click OK. It takes a moment and runs here, and you can see here there's a status strip at the top that tells you how many files were compared, how many were different, how many were only on the server or only in the local file here. And we can see that in this path, the file cool.cs is in fact different. Now you can right-click, and the menu here gives you the ability to actually compare the files. So we're back to this screen again. It's a nice quick way to jump to seeing the exact differences in that file. Or we can view it, and if we view it, it'll actually prompt us, do you want to look at the server version, or do you want to look at the local version, the one that's in Wade's workspace? So a lot of nice features here. Well, let's get a little crazy, and let's go ahead and rerun this compare, and compare what's on the server with something really wacky like what's in inetpub. Now, totally mismatched folders at this point, but let's see how it handles it. And it handles it just fine. It shows us a lot of differences. It shows us some files that are only on the server side, like all of the software development files, and it shows us files that are only on the local side, which are all the www root and the ASAX files and a whole lot of JavaScript files. Now we can come back to our options here either through rerunning it or going to the Modify Filter, and we can say, hey, just show us ones that are in the target folder. Don't show us any different, and don't show us any in the source. We just want to see what exists in the target that doesn't exist in the source. You know what? And maybe we don't care about all these web.configs. So we can come back here and we can add another filter expression here to not show, that's what the exclamation means, star.config files. And then our list here will get a little bit smaller. So quite a handy tool. It is also available from the command line. So if you jump to the command line, and I do recommend if you have Visual Studio installed to pop over here to the Tools menu and actually bring up the command prompt here, because Microsoft has went ahead and prepared the path statement and some other settings in there the way you want it to run the command line utility. In fact, what I usually do is I right-click and I send that little shortcut to the desktop, and then I take it a step further and I drag it down here to my quick launch bar. So whenever I want, I can just hit that button. Even when Visual Studio is open, this is just a nice productivity thing, I can just hit this hyperlink there and I'm right to the command line. Now new in 2008 is the ability to say TF/?, and instead of bringing up online help, to actually just give you a command line to standard output here with the help for that command. So we can see a lot of different TF commands. It's extremely handy command line utility, and you should probably know what TF does even outside of this conversation. So you can say TF folder diff / ? And it shows you pretty simply, give me a source path, give me a target path. Do you want me to be recursive? Do you want me to prompt? In other words, bring up the UI, or just echo out the information to standard output? Shall I do a particular filter? Shall I use the same different source-only, target-only options like we had in the UI? So a real simple one here. Let's just say TF folder diff Dave workspaces with Wade workspaces. And it comes up with no differences. That's because it just simply looked at the root of those folders and it didn't recurse through any subdirectories. So if we run it again with recursive, now it'll go through and find a difference in the solution user option file and also C# code. If you don't want the UI, you can actually give it the no prompt option, and then it just echoes out the differences in the summary information right here to standard output. And again, you can also do a filter and say, hey, we don't care about those SUO files. And it'll just give us the differences here in CS. So folder diff is a really great way of identifying file differences between entire branches, files that maybe you've changed locally and haven't yet checked in, or files that you've checked in from another workspace and haven't yet got the latest version of your local workspace, or just any files that have changed between 2 points in time. Heck, you can even use folder diff for non-development activities like seeing which songs you have duplicated in your Windows Media playlists. So my name is Rich Hunthausen. I am the president of Exsentient, a Microsoft Regional Director, and a Visual Studio Team System MVP. Thank you.